I bought this thing in mind that I'd like to have a stick-style dulcimer with a bowlback. And originally, a long time ago, I thought I'd make a bunch of them and sell them at Renaissance festivals. But I'm really not mass-producing instruments right now because of a bunch of stuff I'm doing elsewise. But I think I'd still like to make one, so that's my plan for this. First, I got to fix everything that's wrong with the body of it, though, and then I'll make a new neck for it. So first, I'm going to take this top off, and then I'm going to cut the neck with a hacksaw. In case there's a screw in it, I don't want to ruin my bandsaw blade, and I'll belt sand it to heat up the fretboard, and the fretboard ought to come right off from the heat and everything. There's no steel in the neck, which surprised me. I would have thought there would have been a screw from the inside this way to hold the neck on. Anyway, I'm going to belt sand it now. I'm using the belt sander to generate heat, not to actually take it all the way down to the top. There we go. So here's what we got. We got a parchment lined inside, and a big part of why I wanted this thing was to measure how thick the staves were and get a pattern so that I could make more of them if I wanted to. We've got one brace that came loose, a crack in the top. This brace has come loose at the end, and that's a brace that's missing completely. But it's not a big deal. We can fix all that real easy. It says Ggda, manufactured New York, New York. 5333 is the serial number. I'm going to take all this parchment lining out. It was to reinforce the ribs, but it smells like cigarette smoke really bad, which is actually why I'm going to refinish the whole instrument anyway. So I'm going to scrape it all out and put new parchment in it. Which means I'll lose the label, which is kind of sad, but that's the way it goes. Well, that's mostly clean. Once I get the thing all the way clean, I'll fix all the little cracks, because there's quite a few cracks in it, separations, and then redo all the reinforcement. And when I redo it, I'll do it in strips. And then I'll probably put a kerfing along the inside, because I kind of plan on binding it. And if I bind it, I'm going to need a kerfing to keep from cutting through to the top when I cut the channel for the binding. Okay, so there's the neck stuck in, and I ended up reinforcing the whole back with a acid-free mounting tape I got from a picture framing shop. It's a lot like my binding tape, and then I soaked it with super glue. That ought to hold it together pretty well. The top, I put in a new rosewood pick guard with a little inlay. New bracing on the inside. I've got an X brace, and it's cut into the top, which keeps the ends from coming loose when it gets old. That way you don't end up with rattling braces. Now it's kind of weird, but all my dulcimers are neck throughs. It keeps them more stable and they have more sustain that way. I think they last a lot longer that way. I've got a friend who's built a bunch of lutes, and I asked him how he holds the top on when he's gluing them up, because it's not something I've done a lot of. He has all kinds of jigs, and I've seen people wrap them with butcher's twine like they were doing a binding. And he just said, you know, the older I get, the less time I have for play acting, and I just hold them on with tape. So I guess that's what I'm going to do too. The ends of the braces come through, but I'll end up covering them up with the binding. I skipped a few steps in the video, but I put a new fretboard on it, and it's got a couple of fancy little inlays, and the frets are all dressed and polished and ready to go. Everything's really ready for lacquer, and I'm going to put a little bit on, and then I'm going to grain fill it a little bit. I don't like to grain fill my Dulcimers all that much. I like to leave it a little bit natural, and I'll put a satin finish on it. The case is something I stuck together out of poplar. It's not that great, but I'm not a case builder, so we're just going to call it rustic and go with it. And there's the finished product. I've got a little rosewood bridge on it, and I've got these little darts on either side that cover the weird bit where the top bends. I've got that little blemish there that I can't do much about. Normally I'd have a logo on it, but I'm going to put a paper label inside. On the back end I've got a little carved flower button to tie off to, and then the other end of a strap would go on the headstock. The staves are mostly back together all nice. They're all nice and smooth, but there's a couple little weird spots, one there and one there, that looks kind of odd, but other than that it's all good. The mahogany neck turned out really nice, and then I've got Grover ukulele tuners on it. Now, you can take a purist view and say that I pretty well butchered this instrument, but the truth is, what I did was I took a mandolin that wasn't worth anything and wasn't worth the trouble to repair and turned it into a pretty cool stick-style dulcimer. It's really a unique thing. And the important part is, I think someone will actually play this instrument, whereas a Bowlback mandolin, it seems like people get them and hang them on their walls and they never really play them, because they're not that great of mandolins. All in all, I'm pretty pleased with it. So I kind of need a better mic. You can kind of tell I've been having trouble with that. This thing's tuned Ggd right now. I had it tuned Ggda earlier. It really sounds quite like a mandolin like that, and that's kind of what I'm going for, a hybrid sound, like between a mandolin and a dulcimer. So it plays pretty good too. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.